Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. I think we'll go ahead and get started with today's presentation. So we're back again for another Delta Mega Innovative Curricula webinar. So I'm Allison Foster, I'm the Executive Secretary of Delta Mega, and I'll be hosting today's presentation. So Delta Mega is the 100-year-old society. This is actually our 100-year anniversary this year. There are currently over 130 chapters of Delta Mega at CFA accredited schools and programs, and we have a combined membership of over 30,000 members. So we've been hosting the Innovative Curricula Award since 2001, and it was designed to stimulate the development of curricula, prepare graduates in meeting challenges of contemporary public health. So we're every year, we're so pleased with the winners and the nominees. And once again, we had a terrific set of nominees in 2023. So as we've been doing, we invite some of the nominees to present their curricula in a webinar series. So today you're going to hear about a Capstone-led, community-led Capstone program. So it's Lindsay, Savelli, and Meg Landfried are going to present from UNC Gillings School of Public Health. And then Lindonne Telesford from St. George's University Public Health Program is going to present on leveraging higher education to advance global workforce and citizenship in small island and developing states. So as our presenters get started, they're going to introduce themselves, go through their presentation. As you have questions, go ahead and put them in the Q&A, and then we will take some time at the end to address all of your questions. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the team from UNC Gillings School of Public Health.
Thank you, Allison. It's wonderful to be with everyone this afternoon. I'm Meg Landfried. I am an assistant professor in the Department of Health Behavior and the MPH Practicum Director at the UNC Gillings School of Global Public Health. And Lindsay, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Lindsay. I work as a teaching fellow with Meg in the Capstone program.
Thank you. And Allison mentioned we are presenting on a community-led Capstone project course. And this is a year-long community-led, group-based, mentored, critical, meaning explicitly focused on social justice service learning course, during which students composed in teams work with a partner organization and its constituents to produce a set of deliverables that are responsive to the community partners organization's self-identified needs. And this course serves as the culminating experience for students in the health behavior and health equity MPH concentrations at the Gillings School. It also serves as a substitute for UNC's master's thesis requirement, and it satisfies the Council on Education for Public Health Integrative Learning Experience criteria. How we hope to spend our time today is explaining a bit about why Capstone came about. We will describe our course structure and supports, as well as some impacts, and then we will wrap up by sharing some challenges and lessons learned. So this course is part of our department's 81-year legacy of community-engaged learning, which of course has evolved over time in accordance with public health goals and approaches. You can notice that for 40 years, we had students diagnose communities, and Capstone came about in 2007. We did a comprehensive assessment of the curriculum, and that called for a shift away from pathologizing communities toward working in partnership and capacity building. Concurrent to these realizations, and based on faculty concerns about the variable investment in and quality of master's papers, coupled with the desire to design a practice-based culminating experience that is mutually beneficial to community partners and students, we implemented Capstone in as a master's thesis substitute for the first time in 2009. And then more recently, we have adapted Capstone to satisfy STEEF's ILE criteria. So this slide illustrates the course's planned work and its intended results. Some areas that we want to highlight are that this course is an opportunity for students to synthesize and apply their foundational training to produce work that is in service to a partner organization. And collectively, this work results in increased capacity among students and our community partners to address social determinants of health and advance health equity. It results in new and improved public health policies, programs, and resources. It enhances student preparedness and marketability for their public health careers. And finally, it strengthens community campus partnerships. As a critical service learning course, Capstone has an explicit focus on social justice that is operationalized by working to redistribute power, developing authentic relationships, and operating from a social change perspective. And this slide illustrates a few ways in which we implement the elements of critical service learning in Capstone. To redistribute power, we designed the course to be community-led to help ensure that community interests are as salient in the experience as student learning and development. Capstone project work is sustained through university funds and staffing, which helps redistribute resources and funnel resources back to community partner organizations. To develop authentic relationships, we have each team co-create a team charter with their preceptor and faculty advisor and community partner. And that team charter helps articulate the desired team culture and clarify expectations for working together. We meet regularly with students, preceptors, and faculty advisors to build community and problem solve together. At the mid and end point of each semester, we administer 360-degree feedback surveys, and those help all parties exchange feedback about the experience. And then each team is given a community building fund to facilitate non-academic interaction. And then finally, we structure opportunities for relationships to extend beyond the academic year, for example, by having capstone projects that evolve into practicum opportunities. We've had, as Lindsay is illustrating, former students come back and be a part of the teaching team. And we have ongoing relationships with our community partners so we can have projects that occur in consecutive years. In terms of operating from a social change perspective, we're fortunate that our students' foundational training really helps them prepare for this work. We prioritize equity and social change when selecting which projects we are going to present to students. And then our class sessions and assignments facilitate additional meaning making and opportunities to reflect on this approach of working towards social change. This is an overview of our capstone team composition and supports. We typically have between 10 and 12 projects each year. There are 4 to 5 students on each team. Each team is guided by a preceptor associated with the partner organization, and that preceptor creates a vision for the project, and in that way serves as the project architect. Each team is also supported by a faculty advisor who provides technical assistance and quality assurance. Alumni teaching fellows provide feedback on teams' work, direct them to resources, and provide safety nets for the other roles. And then as course instructor, I provide instructions, structures, resources for the experience. I help manage relationships and manage expectations and problem solve. And then all told, we usually have about 70 people in our capstone community. So next, Lindsay is going to describe some examples of capstone projects.
Great, thanks, Meg. On the slide, you'll see just a few examples of the range of capstone projects that we support. We've had groups work on assessment to sustainability, and these examples not only highlight the range of project activities by type and topic, but they also speak to the variety of community partners and populations impacted through this work. And we've worked with state and local government agencies, academic institutions, consulting groups, and nonprofit organizations, both within North Carolina and outside of the state. Next slide, please. So how does our course benefit community partners? Over the last 14 years, our students have provided over 103,000 hours of in-kind service to our partner organizations. During that time, they've produced more than 650 deliverables based on partners' self-identified needs. And these deliverables are actually used and implemented by organizations to advance public health and health equity in our communities. And so some examples of deliverables that students have created include literature reviews, data collection instruments, communication tools, evaluation plans, reports, presentations, curricula, manuscripts. There's a wide variety. And student collaboration also enhances our partner organizations' capacity to create new resources, implement new programs, services, and policies to promote health equity. They've also implemented more inclusive processes within their organizations, meet organizational goals, and expand organizational reach. And so as one example, we had a community partner share during the end of semester evaluation that, quote, Orange County will use the presentation and report that the Capstone team produced for the next decade. Not only will OCHD benefit from advancing strategic priorities and deepening our partnerships, but we believe this report will be used by other agencies across the county to advance behavioral health priorities in need of support. So for us, this quote really illustrates the long-term and far-reaching impacts of Capstone. And this is a common benefit that has been recognized across partner organizations. We also structure Capstone to be mutually beneficial to both community partners and students. And so from our internal evaluations, we consistently hear and we can attest that students hone critical public health skill sets. They increase their own capacity to address public health issues and promote health equity. Students also say that they feel more prepared and marketable during their job searches, and they leave with new and strengthened relationships with their fellow students, with community partners, and with faculty advisors. And so we had one student share, I will take away skills such as collaboration, both with an internal team as well as with partner organizations, flexibility in setting realistic and feasible deadlines and timelines, and hard skills such as strengthening quantitative and qualitative skills. And so each year we reflect on the challenges and lessons learned of implementing this course. And while we have many passionate students, we have noticed in recent years that students lack preparation to engage professionally and equitably with community partners. And this definitely may have been further compounded by COVID-19. To address this challenge, we provide tailored mentorship and skill development and project management, conflict management, giving and receiving feedback that promotes growth and learning, and equitable community engagement approaches. We also struggle to balance student interests, potential impact, and organizational capacity while we select projects. And so we've adapted by collecting and triangulating data to try to better inform our project selection processes. We also strive each year to make expectations as visible and as clear as possible to ensure that students have a clear understanding of what to expect for this experience and how they'll be evaluated. And then finally, one of our biggest challenges that we've experienced this year is the tension between our course values that really center on collaborative interprofessional group work to promote health equity and accreditation requirements that assess individually created high quality written products. We advocate for an earlier focus during students' MPH training on writing skill development so that integrative learning experiences like Capstone can ensure that students are equipped with actionable and diverse skills to advance health equity and to address complex health issues that require a collaborative, multidisciplinary, community engaged approaches. And we really hope to see systems level change to support this vision moving forward. If you're interested in learning more, we've offered some references for papers we've published and another that will be published this summer. And you're also welcome to contact us at mphcapstone@unc.edu. Thank you all for your time.
All right, well, thank you so much. I'm sure we've got some questions about your presentation, but we're now going to turn to the presentation from St. George's. Dr. Telesford, are you able to share your screen?
Yes, I should be able to. Let's see. Should be seeing my screen now.
Yep.
Okay, great. I'm just gonna. Okay, so thank you, Alison, and everyone. And I am going to present on leveraging higher education to advance global workforce and citizenship in small island developing states. And I am a faculty member in the Department of Public Health and Preventive Medicine at St. George's University in Grenada. And specifically, I teach, and also my research activities are centered within the environmental and occupational health track. So for this presentation, I'm going to focus a little bit on the track activities. So I am an associate professor also, as well as an assistant dean of the School of Graduate Studies. So my presentation outline is here. I'm just going to share a little bit about Grenada to ensure the international community knows about this little island, tiny island in the Caribbean. Then I'll talk about the SGU MPH program. Then I'll move on to talk about how our program is preparing students as the future global workforce, and then creating global citizens as well. And then I'll wrap up in a conclusion. So just a little bit here about Grenada. It is a tiny island, tri-island state. It's just about 133 square miles, and it is located in the Caribbean, towards the southern end of the Caribbean, with a population of just about 110,000 people. St. George's University is also placed or has its campus in Grenada, towards the south in the capital city. And the university has been operating in Grenada since 1977. So it was recognized in 1976 by an act of parliament, but opened its doors in 1977. Now, Grenada, as you can see there, is a very tiny island compared to Cuba and Jamaica, Puerto Rico, and even Haiti and Dominican Republic to the north. So as a small island developing state, it is among the countries that are also disadvantaged in providing sustainable development education and achieving the goals. And that's largely because of the limited capacity and resources that typically reside in small island states. However, Grenada is at an advantage in having a higher learning institution, that's the St. George's University, operating in the country, having and providing the opportunity for both international as well as local persons to leverage its education programs. So here we see the MPH program in itself, that's the Master in Public Health program, was first offered in 1999 as an on-site program. And I've just included the vision, and this is a recently updated vision because we have updated to align our program with the local, regional, and international context. So here, the picture below, this is some of our faculty as well as community members at a retreat in 2000, I think, and 22, and some of our public health students here in action in the community. So our vision is to create a competent public health workforce building healthy communities, and we focus on education, research, as well as service to the community. So here, you would note that over the years, our program has largely served students from North America, but over time we have seen an increase in the nationals from the Caribbean accessing the MPH program. I think more and more government organizations as well as private organizations recognize the need for training in public health, so they have been accessing the program. Now, specific to the MPH program, there is in there the first assignment that students do at a very early point in the first term. That's the interprofessional team engagement. And largely here, students get the chance to engage with 4 to 5 professionals. And coming out of that, understanding the different perspectives of through which public health practice is implemented or conducted, they now develop a product around a particular public health issue. And that allows for both the local students and regional students and international students to engage and to understand the context and challenges that small islands face in particular. Now, here we also see another assignment that is offered in the course, the community health inspection. And this assignment requires students previously to go out in the field and to undertake some kind of assessment of the community. Now, we have shifted our program from a purely on-site program to a dual delivery mode where students can remain in the country and do the program as well as come to the university. So in that regard, to ensure that we provide equal experience for both on-site and online students, we have now shifted to provide a drone footage of an area, and the students will now use this innovative approach to conduct the assessment. It is quite interesting because students get a more holistic view rather than just going to 1 or 2 homes. They can now get a holistic view of the area, and that broadens their thinking about public health as well. And then there is the windshield survey where they will now apply the same health inspection concepts to their own communities, and then they engage with each other. This allows for the local students to understand the international community, for the international community to understand the local context, and small island developing states, urban environment versus larger countries and rural environment, etc. So it's a very engaging exchange that happens between the students. They're also able to use the tool of the Ministry of Health. So they use a tool that gives them a real experience with conducting those kind of assessments. And then our program also is rooted in science, ensuring that environmental health students are able to make the connection between environmental health practice and science. So in this case, we engage them using several tools, but one that is particularly engaging and of interest to students, and many of them tend to, in their evaluation, speak about its usefulness for them going forward, is the World Health Organization Human Health Risk Assessment Toolkit. And here they're able to do hazard identification, risk analysis, and quantitative risk assessment, and make recommendations based on that. So this in itself helps them to understand all of the chemistry, physics, biology, mathematical concepts. That tool requires them to incorporate that. So that also enables them to apply and utilize the science, as well as conduct a literature review to support the positions that they put forward. The program also seeks to create global citizens in addition to building the skill set and knowledge, as I just described, also helps students to recognize that they're part of a global community. And one of the outstanding assignments that students really enjoy doing is the Creating Healthy Cities assignment. They will use Google Maps, whatever it is, to identify the layout of a city, and then they propose the retrofitting, the reorganization of the layout of the city, the landscape. And in so doing, the students are required to use and bring a lot of their perspectives, their experiences, their own values, and the use of the computer skills and so to reorganize and create a new mapping of the city. Now, this year, this assignment actually speaks to building true global citizens, where students bring their values, actions, and their understanding together in the pedagogical process and bring their own experiences and so to bear as well. So this, we think, contributes to helping the students to understand that they're part of a wider community and recognize that there is independence within those settings, but also interconnectedness in the global community. And the end of the one of the courses with a roundtable dialogue. So they started with the engagement with the interprofessional team. They end in this particular course with, again, a roundtable discussion, dialogue with experts. At this point, they're evaluated to see how well they're able to engage with experts, but also a poster presentation. They choose a country, they choose an issue that they will discuss, and then they present to students in the community college from other colleges, as well as teachers and professionals. And usually this triggers a lot of robust debate between the students as well. Having the younger students, those are not yet in university, debating the points that are put forward by the other students as well. So in essence, students do enjoy the experience. And as we say here, it's a form of leaving no one behind. We engage the students that are not yet in university, those that are in university, and they get the opportunity, even if they're in a small island state, to engage with the wider global subject. And this is just our last spring 2023 group. You can just see here, we had 40 persons from the different colleges coming together to listen to the students at St. George's University present on an environmental health subject. And some references here. Thank you.
Okay, well, that was terrific. Thank you to all of you. So now we're going to take a few questions. We've got a few minutes left. All right, so one question, both of your programs have been around, so we're not going to ask about sustainability, but one question is how or what are your plans to revise your courses in the future? So let's start with Lindonne, if we could start with you, and then we'll go to Lindsay and Meg.
Right, so we just did some major revisions. As I said, we started as an on-site program, but we are now a dual delivery program. And I think it is quite interesting and challenging for our faculty to create and to build the program in this new sphere, ensuring that it is sufficiently engaging and so. So from our last retreat that was in 2023, one of the things we decided is to revise or pursue revision of the programs to ensure that it can be more engaging for students in the international community. How do you administer a program from St. George's University in Grenada, but ensure a student in the US is fully engaged and have the same experience as with a student in Grenada? How do we ensure that they still build skills? So that would be an area of focus as we recreate and we continue to build the programs to meet the needs of the community.
Okay, thank you. And Meg and Lindsay, what would you like to share about plans for the future?
Well, one thing that we implemented for the first time this semester is an alternative grading approach, where we only gave qualitative feedback to students and then asked students to recommend their end of semester grades based on the feedback that they had received from their peers, their community partner, their faculty advisor, and the teaching team. And I refer to this as our first pancake, and like any first pancake, there were some lumps and bumps that we need to whisk out to make it a better product going forward. So we are collecting data currently on students' feelings toward ungrading and whether they would recommend that we continue with our alternative approach or return to a more conventional grading approach. And based on that feedback, I anticipate we will be making tweaks. Lindsay, do you want to take the question that came up in chat?
Yeah, we had a question that was, can you give an example? Oops, sorry, my screen just went weird. Can you give an example of how Capstone strengthens the relationship between the community and campus? How is that relationship evaluated and sustained? And so we're at UNC, we are a predominantly white institution. We exist on stolen Indigenous land, and our buildings were built by people who were enslaved. And there has been a history of harm given that longer context. And so I think it's really important with the resources that we have that we focus on ensuring that we are creating beneficial relationships with our community. We are also a public institution, and so we receive support through taxpayer dollars to exist. And so we have a really strong commitment to ensuring that the work that our students do are directly beneficial to communities that surround the university and across the state. And so that's why we've been really intentional about the programs or the projects that we select, having a strong focus on promoting health equity and coming from a social justice or social change perspective. And every year, as a year-long project, we have multiple surveys that we conduct over the year. So we do at least four over the course of the year to gain a better understanding of each party's experiences thus far in the project. And we use that to then intervene as needed, offer additional supports. And so that's been a great way for us to ensure that these relationships maintain their mutually beneficial structure and goal. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add to that.
You covered it. Thank you, Lindsay.
Lindonne, would you like to answer a version of that question about the relationship between the university and the communities? Because you talked a bit about the global perspective, but what about the local communities you work with?
Right. So, as I said, our program is built around three pillars, the classroom experience, research, and service as well. And the activities that we conduct, as I said, we use tools that are actually utilized by some of our partners, for example, the Ministry of Health. Now, what happens is that the students are able to pursue, for example, the practicum at those sites, because there is more than just use of the tool, but there is actually partnerships with these organizations. And as we do so, we recognize that there has been an uptake of those students as employees after. So for example, in Grenada, our chief medical officer at one time, our permanent secretary, and many of the officers working in the Ministry of Health actually came from our MPH program. So there continues to be that relationship, but we also have our students serving the different institutions in other ways, for example, as researchers. So they undertake projects, and that those kind of relationships tend to be sustained for an extended period as students undertake research. When the project is over, the student may be engaged in service and sometimes eventually become employees as well. So it allows for both local students as well as international students, because some capacity do not reside in the small island state, and we have to seek or source it from students that are residing in the international, in other countries as well. So it puts us in an advantageous position, leveraging those kind of resources through St. George's University.
Okay, well, terrific. Well, thank you. I love the way that these both presentations really had a relationship with each other and different perspectives on working with your students. So we're going to go ahead and close out now. So we will be uploading a recording. So if any of you are online right now, want to share with your colleagues, it should be up by the beginning of next week. And our last in this year's series is going to be on May 9th. So we hope that you all will join us then as well. All right, well, thank you so much. Thank you to the presenters and for the attendees, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.